The last dance. Maya had always loved the rain. It felt like a gentle lullaby, soothing the world around her, turning everything into a soft haze, and allowing her to think, to breathe, to simply be. She often found herself standing by the window, staring into the storm, as the rain fell in delicate patterns against the glass. It reminded her of how transient everything could be, how evanescent moments of peace were. Tonight though, the rain felt different. The droplets, as comforting as they were, seemed to pull at her heart in ways they never had before, as if urging her to look deeper, to remember. The storm outside was fierce, but inside her apartment, the world seemed still. Maya pressed her forehead against the cool window, closing her eyes as the sound of the rain echoed in her mind. There was something inside her, something she had been ignoring for months, that felt like it was unraveling. She turned her gaze toward the photograph on the windowsill. It was of her and Lucas, caught in a moment of affection at her best friend's wedding a while back. She hadn't realized how much she had missed the way Lucas looked at her then, like she was everything. There was no distance between them in that moment, just two people deeply in love, caught in a world of shared dreams. It had felt effortless, natural, like they were always meant to be. Just one more night, Maya told herself. Tomorrow, I'll leave it all behind. The words echoed hollow, empty even as she said them. She had been telling herself that same thing for months. Every day, she promised herself tomorrow would be the day she walked away from the life she had made, the life that no longer felt like her own. The life with Lucas was filled with the quiet comforts of ritual, but now, it seemed as though it had grown heavy with regret, with years of unspoken truths. She had been searching for something more, for passion, for purpose, for a way to feel alive again. But in her heart, she knew she was not just searching for something new. She was running from the fear that perhaps, with Lucas, they had both grown too comfortable in their own silence, too afraid to confront the truths that lingered between them. Maya turned away from the window, but her heart remained heavy. She had made up her mind, hadn't she? Tomorrow, she would leave. She would seek out that elusive spark, find herself again. She could almost picture it, the new city, the new start, the freedom. Yet, as her thoughts spun faster, a quiet voice inside her resisted. She couldn't ignore the discomfort that tugged at her chest, a twinge that told her leaving wasn't the answer. That maybe the answer wasn't in running away, but in rediscovering what had once been. Rekindling their love, reconnecting with each other. The doorbell rang, pulling her from her thoughts. Startled, Maya rushed to the door, her heart quickening. She hadn't expected anyone, no one but Lucas knew she was home. When she opened the door, Lucas stood there, drenched, his hair clinging to his face, his eyes searching hers with an intensity that left her breathless. Lucas. Her voice quivered, unsteady. Seeing him standing there, his vulnerability laid bare, made her heart heavy. What are you doing here? I needed to see you, he said softly, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. He was still wet from the rain, but it was his eyes that told her more than anything what he had been carrying. I know I've hurt you. I know I've been distant, and I can see it now, how much I've taken you for granted. I can feel the space between us growing, and I can't stand it anymore. Maya stood frozen, her pulse racing. The words felt like a knife, cutting through the walls she had so carefully plastered around her heart. She had prepared herself for this moment, had braced herself for the confrontation that had been coming for months, but standing here now, with him so close, everything felt different. I don't know if I can keep doing this, she replied, her voice trembling. I don't know if I can keep pretending everything is okay when it feels like we're slipping away from each other. His gaze softened, and he took a hesitant step closer, as though unsure of how to bridge the gap between them. Maya, I love you. I've always loved you. I've been foolish, I've been busy, I've been selfish. But I swear to you, I want to find my way back to you. I don't want to lose you. Maya's heart clenched, a wave of emotion washing over her. She had heard these words before, words full of regret, full of promises. But in his eyes, she saw something different this time. There was no hesitation, no tension. Just pure honesty. And in that moment, something inside her softened. I don't know if I can believe that anymore, she responded, tears threatening to spill. I need more, Lucas. I need to feel like we're really here, really present with each other. I don't know how to get that back. There was a long silence between them. The only sound was the rain, still pounding against the windows, as though echoing her own internal storm. Then, Lucas did something that caught her completely off guard. He stepped forward, took her hands gently in his, and held them with a tenderness that sent warmth spreading through her chest. Then let's find it together, he said, his voice steady, as if anchoring her in this moment. We don't need to have all the answers right now. We don't need to fix everything in one night. All we need is to take the first step. Maya's breath caught in her throat. The weight of her decision, of the years of quiet suffering and lost connection, pressed heavily against her chest, but somehow, hearing his words made the weight feel a little less burdensome. She wasn't alone. Not anymore. A flicker of hope stirred in her heart, fragile but undeniable. Maybe they could find their way back. Not by running away, but by facing the truth. I'm scared, she admitted quietly, her voice breaking. I'm scared that we've grown too far apart. That we've lost something we can't get back. Lucas squeezed her hands, his expression softening with a quiet understanding. We'll take it slow. One step at a time. It doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as we're moving forward. And in that moment, Maya realized that perhaps the love they once had, deep, pure, and unbreakable, hadn't disappeared. It had simply been buried under the weight of life's pressures. But it was still there. Waiting. Waiting for them to find it again. She stepped closer to him, feeling the warmth of his hands holding hers, and for the first time in months, she allowed herself to let go of the fear. To trust. Then, as if the universe had been waiting for this precise moment, Lucas pulled her into his arms, and she let herself cry, the tears flowing freely, a release of everything that had been held inside for so long. In his arms, she felt safe. She felt seen. In the silence that followed, Maya knew she didn't need to hide anymore. She didn't need to run. All she needed was to feel the warmth of his touch, the steady beat of his heart against hers, and the deep, unspoken promise that maybe, just maybe, they could begin again. And in that embrace, amidst the storm outside, Maya understood that sometimes the most profound transformations didn't come from running towards something new, but from reawakening what had been there all along. Lucas kissed the top of her head, whispering softly, "We'll dance through this, Maya. Together." And for the first time in years, Maya believed him.